Testing, testing. Hello, welcome to Programming Rainbow. In this video, we will continue on the series of SDL3. This will be the Minesweeper game, and in the C language, this is video number 15. So if you'd like to follow along with this one, you can go to github.com, Programming Rainbow, and it's called Minesweeper C SDL3. You can clone that repository, move inside the directory, and you have the code here. So if you just clone this one, you will want to delete the src directory that has the final code. You want to grab the video 14 directory and copy it, rename it src, so you can be where we are right now. So let me just show you the final project real quick. So this is the old Minesweeper game. We have indicated mines here. This is how many mines are under the board minus how many mines we've indicated, like this. Over here is the seconds that have passed. Both of these can only go up to 999. And let me just show what the game looks like. There we go. These indicated mines were incorrect, and this was a mine, so I failed. And we get the frowny face, and we can reset it up here. Okay. So in the last video, or well, let me just show you again real quick. I didn't really need to compile it, but we actually have different. Let me end it right here. We have different themes, and we have different sizes, but we can also change that's different scales. We can also just change the size of the board itself. And that's what we will be doing in this video right here. Just check something real quick. Okay, so we're going to need basically a function in everything except mines that is going to be able to recalculate how big different things are, because we're going to have a different amount of rows and columns. So the border will be in a different position, the screen size will be different, and all that stuff. So I'm going to start by going into each one of the, see here, board C. And we're going to have a new function. Find it real quick. Yeah, there we go. So in board C, under the set scale, where I put that one, right here, where we have set scale, we're going to have a new function called set size. And this one will be void. And what we're going to be doing is giving it rows and columns. Okay, so that's basically what we're doing. We're changing the rows and the columns. So the very first thing we want to do before we actually link up these new rows and columns is we want to get rid of whatever the old board was. If there's already an existing board we had say we have an existing board that is 9 by 9 and we want to make a new board that is 10 by 10 or something like that. We need to call the board free before we've changed these numbers, so it knows to free the old board, because it's going to go through and free them. Let's see, where's the free function? The reset. So this is going to go through a loop. See, board free array. Where's that? Yeah, this is going to go through a loop. So that loop will have changed because the rows number will have changed. So we're going to free it before we change this new number to the new row size. So that's the first thing I'm going to do here. Free arrays. We're going to call that, and we're just going to pass in board. So we won't have any arrays allocated. And now we're going to link up the rows and the columns. columns equals columns. And we need to now recalculate where the width and the height of the rectangle. This is just the rectangle for the whole board, not for one of the pieces. But we do need to recalculate this because this has changed now. And I think we could just use the way we calculated it the first time. This seems wrong. Hold on. Oh, I've changed the way the board is from my original code. So anyway, since I've changed it, I'm still going to use the version of this sort. I was looking at my notes, and my notes have a slightly different set of numbers, but I'm going to use this because this is the way we set it initially when we set the scale. So it's going to be the same idea. So we are setting the width and the height of the rectangle. So we haven't changed scale, so we're not changing x and y at all. And that will be the function on this one. Now this needs to be seen externally, so I'm going to put this in the header file right underneath the set scale. Right here. And that will be all that we need to do for this. So now we can go into border. And it's going to be the similar idea here. We're just changing the rows and columns. So underneath the scale right here, all we need really is just to update that number. So it's just going to be void border set size. And then we have our unsigned rows, unsigned columns. And all we're doing on this one is just linking them up. Rows equals rows, and columns equals columns. We don't need to recalculate anything. The calculation on this is happening in here already based on these numbers. So as long as these are updated correctly, we're good. And so we do need to make this viewable. You know, this function will be called from game. So we need to take that signature and put it in the header file right here. Okay. And then we're moving on to set clock. Yeah, there we go. So I'm going to close this. So down to where we're setting the scale here, underneath this. So this is void clock set size. And we're doing just the columns on this one because the clock is only interested in, you know, where the position of the clock is. There's no, it's not worried about the rows, just the columns. Because that's all the information we need to put the clock in the right place. So we have columns, and we'll link that up. And we also want to set the back destination rect x. So we already know how to do that because we've done it here. So I'm just going to yank this right here and put it here. That should be correct. Let me just double check it. Left. Yeah, it looks all good. Okay, so that is what that function looks like, and we are going to make this visible outside of this. So we're going to put it in the header file. Okay. And the next one will be the face. Same story with this one. We are going down to where the scale was, right here. Set size, face, and then we are only really interested in, again, the columns because we just need to set the face in the correct position. So this is on columns. And this is going to be just like the face one. Same idea. We're going to link up the columns. And then we need this X position right here. It should be the exact same one, but I'm going to double check my notes and make sure it is. So I'm just looking over it real quick. Yeah, it's the exact same because it's the way that we set the X up here when we're scaling, it's going to be the same. Because this one, it has the columns that we're using. And the scale is going to be whatever it was set previously, so the scale is still correct. It's still all correct. And so we're going to grab this function signature and put it in the header file as well. And it looks like I've done something wrong here. Hold on a second. This void is just a D here. Okay. So the last one, I believe, is, hold on, we got face. And actually, I don't think that is the last one, I think. Game, indie, mines. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to compile this real quick, and we're going to see nothing has changed because I just want to make sure I haven't made an error up to this point. So I'm just going to run the compiler just to find out. Basically, we put these functions in place, but we're not actually using them. That's great. Okay, so now the rest of what we're going to do is in game. And we're going to be adding some keys. So game, look at my notes here. Yes, that size. So in game, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put this new function that we're creating underneath the scale right here. So this is going to return a Boolean because we're going to run a game reset, and game reset can fail. So we need to propagate that failure down the line. So this is going to be a bool. Because you remember in board, we deleted the, we freed the arrays on the board, but we never reallocated them. So what we're going to do is this game reset is going to be the one that reallocates. But we already have code in place that reallocates boards and all that, so that we're just going to use that, lean on that. It's already in place. It already works. We're just going to use it. Game. So this is going to be rows and columns, and we're also going to have the scale. Okay. So not just rows and columns, but we're putting scale into here. Yes, yeah. And the scale is a float. The reason why we're putting the scale in is because when we make the board very big, where there is lots of rows and columns, I actually don't scale it by 2. I just scale it just by 1. So it's not scaled up on the bigger size. So we are passing that information into this function. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to link up everything here. The G rows is going to be rows. G columns is going to be columns. And the G scale is going to be scale. Okay. And now we can start calling these functions. So we have done the we've done this border set scale, right? So this is going to be G border and then our G scale. That's not right, sorry. This is set size, not set scale. So it's going to be border, and it is going to be the rows and the columns. Okay, I'm going to set the scale on all of them all at once because I already have a function that does that in game, which is the game set scale. So I'm just going to call that down here. Set scale. This already exists in here, so I'm just going to use it. So that's going to set the scale of all of them. And I'll just keep, you get what I'm saying. I could set the size here, but I have set the scale differently depending on what one it is, but I could just run this function afterwards, and however the scale was set, it's going to take care of it because I've already got that function in game up here that is handling all of that. So I don't need to recreate all this code again and recreate the window width and height when I already have a function that's doing that for me. Okay, so I don't know why. Yeah, there it is. So now we have the board. And this is going to be G board. And then we have the rows and columns as well. And the clock. And this one is just the columns, I believe. Yeah, for clock and for face. And then this is face and the columns. Okay, so that's basically setting all the different sizes, but again, if we set it on the very big one, the scale is wrong. But we've already passed in a scale here that's just set normally. So then when we run this function, it's going to fix that for us, and that's going to change the screen size, everything else. But we still don't have like rows. The back board and the front board haven't been created. So down here, I'm just going to call reset. Reset's just going to take however many rows or columns for the board and generate that backboard in the front, the back array and the front array for me. So I already have that function in place. I just want to make sure it doesn't fail. Set. So if that does return, otherwise we will return true. Okay, so now we have this function, and we just need to be calling it. So I'm going to go down into the events. Game events. And I'm going to start adding some right here. So I'm going to use the letters Q, W, E, R, and I believe T. That's going to be how I'm setting the size, because I'm going to use the numbers on the top for the setting the theme. And I'm going to use the letters under A, S, D, F, and G to set the difficulty. So in this one, I'm just setting the size. So it's going to be Q, W, E, R, T. You can pick totally different letters. It doesn't matter. This is just ones I've chosen. Right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this function. We have to know if it failed or not. So it's going to be if game set size and I need to pass in G. And for the smallest size, it's going to be 9, 9, and 2. So the 9 is the rows, the other 9 is the columns, and the 2 is the scale. So it's going to be scaled by 2. I'm missing something here. It doesn't like the way I'm writing this. Okay, well, what's going on here with this? The way I'm writing this. Something's wrong with it. Okay, maybe nothing is wrong with it. Oh, in my notes, I wrote these if statements without braces. I don't like that at all. Anyway, so I'm going to take this and I'm just going to yank it and copy it. And now we are going to do QW. So this will be W. And for W, I'm going to do 16 by 16. So this will be 16, 16, and still scaling the same. And then after that, I'm doing E. And so E is going to be 20 by 40. So, sorry, 16 by 30. So the next one will be 20 by 40. 16 by 30. So I'm making it a rectangle shape this time. And we still got the ×2 on that. And then R is going to be 20 by 40. And then we have T, which is going to be 40 by 80, which is too big to display on my screen. So I'm going to put the scale at 1. Okay. Okay, so let's see what that does. Okay, so I didn't forward declare this function. Where is it? The set size, game set size. Game toggle scale, that should have been, so this function should be underneath the other one anyway. I'm just going to move it real quick. It doesn't really matter, but I just want it there. So I need to grab this signature here and forward declare it. So this one is a bool and it's game. Yeah, there we go. Okay, hopefully that's correct now. Okay, so I'm going to try Q. Yeah. And I'm going to try, yeah. Okay. Okay, so I kind of missed one step here, which is you'll notice when let's get really big, but not too big, this size here. We only have 8 mines, so we didn't really choose the difficulty yet. So we're changing the size, but we haven't changed the difficulty yet. And we're going to cover that in the next video. We're going to cover difficulty. So I'm kind of just going to, I know it's not great right now, but we're really just focusing on changing the size of the board. So we are going to be handling this difficulty where we can actually adjust the size of the difficulty and calculate how many mines for whatever difficulty and per the size need to be there. So we're going to be handling difficulty in the next one. There's also something, let me just show you this, and I think this is a thing with my window manager, okay? I don't think this is a bug in the game, but somebody else could tell me. Right now I'm doing 9x9, and if I were to press Q, I'm still 9x9, but you'll notice the width of the border here and down here increase. However, I can verify that the number that they increase to is in fact the number that is in the header file. So I think it's my window manager being funny. See that? We got a little bit wider border now. But this is now 328, which is the original size that I asked it to draw to begin with. So it's not a bug in my program. It could be a bug in SDL or just my window manager. Probably my window manager because I'm using Xmonad. So, but it's not a big deal. Okay, so let's cover what we've done here. Basically, we've added this function in all of them. So here we are at just linking in the rows and the columns, and we are recalculating what the rect width and height should be. And let me just verify that because it is different than my final code originally before I started this series, I had a different number here. So let me just make sure that that is correct. So I'm going to put it on a bigger size. And right here, this should be correct. I'm going to click off screen. Nothing happened. Now I click on screen. Yes. Okay. So it is correct. Okay, so we have, we're linking it up, and then we're recalculating what the rect width and height should be based on the new columns and rows. That's in board. We are also freeing the arrays before we link them up, okay? And the arrays get recreated when we do the game reset. So they're not handled in this function, they're just handled in the normal, we have a normal way to reset the game, so we're just doing it there. So in the border, we're just linking them up. Nothing is happening here because they're used later on in the drawing. So as long as the correct rows and columns are there, everything's fine. In the face, we need to calculate where the face is. So we are linking up the columns, and then we're just calculating it. And we're just doing it the way that we've calculated it with the scale. So I just grabbed that right there, and it's good. Thanks. I'm kind of under time penalty right now. So the face is very much the same story. We are just linking columns, and then we are using the exact same calculation that we did up here in the destination rect x. We need to recalculate where that x position is. And all of these function signatures need to be in the header file because they're going to be called from game. So there's game and nothing has to be done for mines because mines is on the left side, so it doesn't matter the size of the board. It's always in the same spot, so there is no function here for that. So game C, we have down here on the size, we're linking all the sizes up. We are calling all the functions that need to be called for border, board, clock, and face for that to link in the new rows and columns or just the new columns. And since some of these are changing the scale, when we call this function, the scale right here is being changed. We are just running that game set scale, that function above that handles all that for us. And since we are deleting the board, the arrays for the back array and the front array, we can just use game reset to recreate those boards and regenerate all the stuff that's in the board since those functions are already in place. And so down here, what we're doing is we've just added different key combinations for the board size. This is a 9x9 scaled 2, 16x16 scaled 2, 16x13 30 scaled 2, and 20x40. And now I'm doing a 1080p screen right here. So when we go beyond 20x40 to this 4080, it won't fit on the screen. However, you can still always change the size. So watch this. So, and we don't need to compile it. I'll just do a release run. So this size, I can still scale it. So even though we choose on the big side, this one where it's scaled down, I can still press B and get bigger, even though my screen doesn't display it correctly. it still scales when you press B. That's functionality is still there. So let's see. So yeah, the only thing we're really missing here is we're not calculating the difficulty. So each of these scales only has 8, but in the next video, that's exactly what we're going to be doing. We're going to be able to dynamically change the difficulty and also calculate whatever difficulty, how many mines should be in a board of a specific size based on that difficulty level. So that'll be sorted in the next video. Okay, so I hope that was, if you have any questions, you can ask them in the comments below. But I hope that was entertaining or educational, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good day. Bye.